I don't know if, how many of you saw or remember One Red Flower?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you? Okay. And you?
In the garage.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
She played my mother,
Uh-huh.
and we got extremely close during that whole rehearsal process, and that show is such a special thing. It's one of the shows that I will always think is probably my favorite. Just because it was so much more meaningful than just another show, because of all the family members tied up in that, real life people that we were playing, and their families who spent time with us. And we, Flo and I took a trip down to Arlington Cemetery and the wall and all this stuff together one Sunday, and that was wonderful. And I call her Mama ever since. She's Mom. So,
I was going to ask you what your favorite signature show was, and you think that that
yeah.
was probably,
Yeah. It was interesting during that process because we went through an actual, well, not an actual, a simulated boot camp with a Gunnery Sergeant Fields. And that was fun. We went out to the baseball field behind the old Signature, and we had this like drill where I can't even remember all the details of it. All I remember is if he tapped you on the shoulder, you were wounded. So then you couldn't move anymore. So if he tapped someone to your left and you saw they were wounded, you had to grab them and pull them with you, but you had to be on the ground because you were trying to stay out of fire. And then he was yelling, "You gotta hurry, your chopper's leaving, your chopper's leaving!" And Josh Davis, the actor who played it, and I can't remember the name of the character. Charlie, maybe. No, I don't know. Anyway, Josh said, "Well, shoot the chopper then!" Shoot the chopper. So that was interesting. The whole boot camp. it was interesting. But the worst part was that Signature staff was invited to come and watch it. So like we're under inspection and stuff, and there's like everybody going like, it's like, really guys, couldn't believe you kept this a little more private, as we're humiliated and yelled at by, but yeah, it was an incredible process of like, if you've ever it's based on a book you can get out in the library, Dear America, Letters from Vietnam. And reading that as I was doing the show and all of it, it was devastating. So, needless to say, there was a need for comic relief backstage.
here we go. This is going to be good. Okay.
Because, seriously, I remember our first read sing-through of this, right? Our first read sing-through of this, we were all devastated. Like, could not even get through the closing number, devastated. The last song was called If You Are Able. And it started with the my character got killed like 3 days before I was supposed to go home. And so I remember I was reading my last letter to my mom, and then I started to walk up this passageway of there were several rows of these little bunkers almost. And then I got to the end and turned around, and then there was these explosions, and the American flag, done in tones of black and white and gray, kind of fell in front of me. And then my name was projected, my character's name was projected really big, and it was really brilliant how it was done. And then slowly it started to get smaller, and Flo had her last monologue, which is, her last monologue is a letter that Eleanor Wimbish left at the wall. And it is, if you've never read this letter, I mean, I can't even think of it without being destroyed. It is, a mother saying all the things that she would like to say to her son, and it's devastating. So she gets to read that letter and then sing a song, which was always challenging,
Always.
And as the name got smaller, you saw other names pop up. So slowly this whole thing became the Vietnam Wall. And then we would come out, the characters in the play who died, and it was a scrim. So they lit us behind it, so we were behind the wall singing to them. It was horrible, and to see horrible in a good way. I mean, it was emotionally horrible to go through, and you'd see the audience just like, it was very hard to get through. So, there was a lot of comic relief backstage. There's a movie from 1963. I'm a big bad movie junkie. It's a movie from 1963 that Ed Wood made. It's called Orgy of the Dead. It is nothing more than a topless female dance show. It has nothing to do with anything else. And there's one particular dancer who I believe looks like she was paid in perhaps acid for doing the movie, because she's just everywhere, kind of. And we were obsessed with her dance because she was just like, and every time we put it on, like, we would cry laughing. So that's all I'll go into with that story. But
We kept that running backstage all the time. Anytime we were off the stage, we could see this.
But Flo, to her credit, she was basically in the locker room. There were like 6 guys in Flo. So, but she loved it. She loved it. So we'd have this TV playing with this Orgy of the Dead, and Flo would come off stage and be like, oh. And go back to her dressing room. Or about to go on the stage and go, it was, yeah. That was that.
Okay, that was the first for signature. I mean, not only that film, but that's the first time we ever used mics. Okay, it's the first time we ever used mics.
Well, besides Henry.
Pardon?
Besides Henry, but that was a rock.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Well, yeah, but that's the same reason we used it in One Red Flower, because they were singing from rock score, and you could kill your voice trying to sing over that. After Gypsy, you
Grand
did
Hotel.
Grand Hotel. Okay.
That was one of my favorites. Top 5.
Okay.
And I got to open the door for everyone as they came into the theater in a bellhop outfit. And that was always fun because the reactions you would get from people varied. Some people would enter the space just going, well, yeah, of course, someone's opening the door for me. And then my favorite was this woman who, there were 2 of us, one on either side, and went, welcome to Grand Hotel. And this woman went, I just love the plots here. Now examine that sentence. I love the plots here. And I remember going,
That's something that I miss about the old garage. Do you?
the entrance,
Yeah.
that hallway.
Yeah, there have been some great ones. I mean, like What the Butler Saw, do you remember walking through the set?
Yep.
And when we did Sweeney there, and you walked through the streets of London, that was really,
I miss that so much. And they do still do things in the front of the Max, but somehow it's not the same because it was something about walking down a hallway and getting into the world of the play, and then you were in the theater, and 9 times out of 10 it totally had reconfigured to a different angle, and you have to adjust for a second, and it was truly magical. I love that hallway.
well, okay, here's an idea.
Yeah.
We should tell this to Chief, that instead of letting people in the front door that's closest to the bar in the Max, if we did the second door and made them walk through that little lobby area and in, we could make more use of it, because you just kind of, there's that stuff over there. Yeah. Good. So now, where did we bring you up to? You had been in Grand Hotel. You just opened the door. What are you in next?
What show am I in next?
At Signature.
I guess
Grand Hotel, you mean?
after Grand Hotel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't know yet, Marcia. Do you know something?
Does she know something you don't know?
During Grand Hotel, Eric had spoken to me about Hedwig and said, hey, it says on your resume you can play the piano. I said, yeah, I can. He goes, okay, we might use you in Hedwig. Why don't you look at the score? So he gave me the piano score. There was no piano score. It was all a rock score. I mean, there was not even a part for piano. I called him back and I said, Eric, there's no piano part. He goes, well, it said it was a score. I was like, yeah. But I also, researching it, found out that the guy who wrote the music was also the keyboardist. He knew it. He didn't write it down.
Oh.
So I spent a large part of the winter that year, because we did Grand Hotel, right, September 11th, it was fall. And I spent that whole winter listening to the CD and notating it, writing it out. It took me forever. So by the time we got to the first music rehearsal of Hedwig and the Angry Inch, I was playing it, and John Kay's looking at the score like this. And he came up to me and he looked at what I was playing. He goes, you do that? I said, yeah. And he goes, that's pretty good. He walked away. Because I didn't know what he would think of what I was playing or if I was doing it well. So that was scary. But,
Wow.
yeah.
How'd you enjoy doing that show?
Hedwig?
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was fantastic. It was so much fun. So many people were like, in the what? I'm not going to see that. I won't go to see that. And then, like, it was interesting to see, like, the matinee ladies, we'll call them, who came into the theater like this. Sat there, and we would go out early to get to our, music stands or whatever. Not music stands. Get to the keyboard, guitar, whatever. So we'd be on stage way before Rick was, just kind of like warming up, or I think Eric just told us to look, like you didn't care about anything, smoke a cigarette, lay down on the stage, whatever. And these ladies would be like, what are we singing? You could hear them, And then I would always watch their journey because they'd start off like this, and then they'd be like, by the end, they were laughing, and the brilliant thing about Hedwig is it sucks you in very early, and it's hysterical, and you're laughing, and then it turns after you care about this person that you never think you would care about, and then the story turns and becomes quite sad and quite tragic, and then there's redemption at the end, and so it's a lovely little evening, and the last song is called Midnight Radio, and there's a repeated lyric at the end that says, lift up your hands, lift up your hands. And all these women who would be like this at the beginning, at the end, would like this. Every night, I'd be like, yes! That's great.
Yeah. So we ran it in the old garage, and then you guys moved over to 7th Street, right, off New York Avenue?
Yes,
here?
the Warehouse Theater.
The Warehouse.
That was a great venue for an icon.
Oh, it was perfect for it, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great.
It had even more of what Signature, had. It had that,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
And Rick, it was like, in a way, it was like a Sunset Boulevard, because every night I just got to sit and watch him do his thing, and it was fantastic. It was a learning experience. I got to play a little bit when the piano wasn't called for in the score, or when it wasn't on the CD. I just played tambourine.
Did anybody come to the open house, to the Hedwig reunion? This year at the open house, everybody came back, and at the end, in the evening, just before the final, out in the plaza, all of the musicians and Rick, everybody was there.
It was amazing.
It was fantastic, and of course, here are all of these groupies from Hedwig. We didn't care what you did. We just want you to keep doing it.